morning, everyone. And yes, you are in the neighborhood before sunrise. And I don't know, I just had a little bit of a notion, a bit of an itch. So I just want to share some of that with you. And it will be throwing some caution to the wind. So hang on, I'll be right back. Good morning, everyone. And yes, this is Black Spring with Autumn on your Sunday. And I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in on your Sunday. And also, I want to thank you guys so much for considering coming into Black Spring with Autumn. If you're not sure if you're coming in, as always, I appreciate you for considering coming in on your Sunday morning. And I'm going to do my usual housekeeping, and I will give thanks to our loyal patrons, subscribers, and of course the viewers like you. And I'll be right back, and see you guys in just a minute. All right, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. And if you are here, this is what I call sometimes a sunrise surprise. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Thank you so much once again for joining me on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So I just want to start off here a little bit on the rip, dare I say. You probably by now you've heard or you've seen on some level of a loop. You've seen these talking heads, these actors from the MSNBCs. You've even probably seen some of the other celebs, if you will, chiming in on mocktails. So you were warned that this is I'm throwing caution to the wind, and who knows what can happen. But you've seen that, and you've seen these this wind character. You've seen CNN, and so unfortunately they're playing what I'm considering a little bit of mind. They're playing mind games, and they've been more successful than I anticipated with some of these mind games. However, I want to talk just a little bit about. I want to give you a little bit of the background story on what's actually happening with mocktails. This is my assertion here, and I'm going to call it my opening statement before I share anything else with you, because it seems like this whole little session here might end up being dedicated to some of the rhetoric, the propaganda, as well as what I consider fact. It's being shared with you via our friends at the We Forum, as well as our friends over at the TNA. So then that's also going to kind of bring us back into what I always say on this show. It seems like it's Groundhog's Day, because I've been talking about some of these things for a long time, and now they're they're in our faces right about now. So the deal is, what I'm asserting, the deal is there is a deadline that's coming up. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on the COVAX. I've defined the COVAX. Of course, it's the portfolio of all these pharma companies that were included in the, in the manufacturing of the mocktails. And you've got two right now that are vying for the full on, they're vying for full on approval. They want to upgrade their status from the current EUA. So that's where it is. But I think that's why you're starting to hear we've just finished the end of April, and we're in May right now. So they're under a lot of pressure right now because there are other doctors, which I think that have a bit more integrity, that are vying for more independent study on something like this, which they're asking for more test, more administration, more data. They want more data on something like this before it reaches a full on approval. So that's kind of what I'm on about right now. Also, the synergy between the digital ID and this whole mocktail it's getting ready to collide. But in terms of the COVAX and the big pharma, they have a lot riding on what happens between the demand and the actual supply of these mocktails right now. So that's why all the rhetoric and all of the talking heads, doing their due diligence. Shout out to Tyrants Bane TDOA. I saw your video. I saw your live stream, or either way, I watched both of them. So I saw both of them, and shout out to you. I thought that was a fantastic report that you did, coming out of, New York's talking head, Charlemagne the God. He's, and I dare not use that term when it comes to him. I can't stand it. But however, he's a part of the ministry as well. So you've got all of these talking heads. You've got walking contradictions amongst these talking heads that are all, running their mouths, but they're doing it because the rubber is about to meet the road, or there's another timeline in this campaign. So, they need to meet a target in order to, of course, each of the states need to meet a target in the percentage of the demand. I think it's more of the demand that's more important right now than even the supply right now. But I don't think that they've reached that. So these are my assertions. Of course, on this channel, you can be approved, you can reprove me or whatever you want, but just don't do it. I just ask that you do it with some level of, I just ask you that you back it up with something. That's all I ask. So those are my assertions. For those of you that are on the Patreon page, you are getting the full context of what I'm referring to, and it's coming from a professional from the AFLDS. Now, that's the American Frontline Doctors System. You might remember seeing them on the front steps or the steps of one of the Capitol buildings out of DC last year, and I think many of those doctors were either blackballed or blacklisted or however, but they have their own organization, and they have research to back it up. So, and I've also referred you guys to, if you're looking for that information, you can get over to theirs, or, get over to those reports, because those reports are growing as well. If you have an ID number, you can see some specifics, or either you can just plug in whatever you want. And or anything, you can follow up even on something you may have heard, whether you have the age of the person, whether you have symptoms of the person, whatever you have, you can plug that in there. And good morning. How rude of me, I didn't say good morning to California Dreaming in NYC. Thank you so much for coming in. You are most generous. I really appreciate it. Blessings to you as well. And Anthony Van Zant is here, and he says, morning, we are living between the pages of the 1950s dystopic comic book, yet they've lost their false narrative with the faithful in reasonable. We just need to take the propaganda pom-poms out of their hands. Yeah, sorry for the lag on that. But so yeah, here I said it, I'm throwing caution to the wind here, but whatever. What are they gonna do? Okay. So, do your thing, YouTube. So yeah, so for those of you that are on Patreon, there is a link. I may have even put it on the community tab once upon a time, but I thought, well, you know what? For all that, you're going to hear lots of things, but I thought it might be helpful where if you might have a source as to where some of this is coming from. These you're hearing about everything from, shout out, the TDOA he was just spot on. And you've got the puppetry, and you've got people contradicting themselves. I mean, even Charlemagne says, "Oh, I'm not a fan. I'm not taking part in that. But if you want to if you want your liberties back, the US is the most mocktail place in the world right about now." So that particular article, I know it's on the Patreon, it's there, and it may be on the community tab. I'm not sure if I remember it being on the community tab, but that's what it's about. It's about, you've got two companies right now that are vying for full blessings, for the lack of a better word. And that sounds kind of blasphemous, but they're vying for full blessings on their mocktail. Okay. And then it's also going to be a standard change, a game changer for other mocktails that may not even be related or research going forward. It's going to affect those future mocktails depending on what these two companies from the COVAX are able to achieve. If they're able to get the full blessing from FDA, then it's going to be a game changer. And they are saying that they have the data that they need to apply for this status change, because this is and like I said, I've already said a lot, but it's going to be on you to take the information with a grain of salt, whatever. And yeah, so you just take it with a grain of salt. And I'm going to read some comments here. Thank you guys so much for coming in for the sunrise surprise / flash. I got a lot of monikers going on, but you guys know you're in the neighborhood, and I can tell you're in the neighborhood because I'm not wearing my sweatshirt. I'm not wearing my sweatshirt. This is how you're in the neighborhood, is when I have the sweatshirt on. But because I'm not wearing it, I just want to assure you are in the neighborhood at this hour. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. But let me read some comments, and thank you guys so much for coming in. Anthony Van Sant says, "Morning all, got a reboot, losing signal." And California Dreamin' in NYC says, "Yes, ma'am." Thank you guys so much for coming in at this hour. I know it's a little different. And California Dreamin' in NYC says, "I haven't been getting his notifications." Yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't do my little friendly engagement at the beginning and say, "Hey, you guys, make sure you hit the like button, the unlike button. Make sure you're still subscribed." And I guess the other thing would just be, make sure you're hitting the bell. I guess that's still a part of the standard around here for communication. And California Dreaming in NYC says, "Blessings for who? Full sinister plans, emotions." We say so. Yes. And yeah, all of that. Well, there are two of the COVAX companies. And when I say COVAX, there was, the companies, the pharma companies all came together. So there's about 9, at least there's about 9. I don't know how many to me right now. Some of them kind of faded out, but there are two. There are two companies right now that want the approval. They want to go from the emergency use to full blown. They want full approval for the mocktail. And yes, there are two companies. If I can share that report, I will. I'll try to. But it's definitely the two biggest ones that are vying for that approval, full approval, which will be, I think that means that they can give it longer. And then that means more of these private companies will be able to, they'll be able to say this is what they'll make it a biometric requirement. Until these mocktail companies have that full approval, they will not be able to get that. You have some companies that are, that are advocating for it, but yeah, but they, without that full approval from FDA, they can't quite do, as much as they could do. Okay, so there you go. But I'm saying that's not the end of this. That's not, mocktails are not the end of this. Your entire ID is going to be attached to it. And then to me, that's where the society game changes. Where you rank in society is going to change. And in fact, I will tell you, and I'm happy to say, it's interesting that people are going back into my archives. I have a video that's just picking up a lot of traction, and that comes from the trust stamp that was rolled out by Gates earlier with the Gavi partnership some months ago. And they even mention, I might even pull that up for you guys. There is even mention about how they're going to be able to identify criminals. And to me, I found that ironic that they would put those things. You managed to put mocktails, ID, and criminality. You managed to roll all three of those things into that conversation. So that's what I'm talking about. We're getting ready to see, there's some societal changes that are about to happen here. Who knows how many societies will there be? And of course, I think we know who the dominating society, what those traits will look like, what those profiles will look like, for the lack of a better word. So let me read some comments here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And Anthony Van Zant says they did it. Google's working overtime because we are not pushovers. In Toronto, they're pushing every mocktail within every age, every second of every day. Yeah, I think where's this? In Toronto. Okay. Yeah, I think I was reading some things about Canada. There's a lot going on in Canada. Canada is full speed ahead with a lot. Even the surveillance reports are coming out. The social credit score reports are coming out. And California Dreaming in NYC says already having a hard time being ostracized at dialysis. Oh, wow. That's interesting. California Dreaming in NYC. Thank you so much for sharing that. And says not wanting any of their blessings. Yeah, I certainly don't want any, but it is sinister. I think your word, that's tying it up. That's tying it up in a bow. And she says, thank them so much. And she says, where's your super chatty? I don't have a super chat. I don't have a super chat. All I have is I'm small potatoes around here. All I have is Patreon and PayPal. That's my super chatty. So that's it. So that's all I have. I'll just, I don't know, I'll just put that out there, but I normally do, but I haven't put it out in a while. So I was just drop that in there. You know the deal. I don't make the rules. It's their system, and I don't have the right, I don't have the right message or the right steam, to do what, I don't have I don't have the social media credit numbers to have that right now. The powers that be, they don't like my content. So that's it. I would imagine, because there's suppression going on around here. It is. And but it's fine. It's really fine. I'm here, and that's, to me, what's most important. So Anthony Van Zant says we are living between the pages. I got that one in earlier. Very observant, Anthony Van Zant. And California Dreaming in NYC says not getting no hokey pokey. All right. Man, you guys have got the buzzwords. Okay. And see, here's the thing. It's not for it's all is not lost, right? We've all got education just for being on in these communities. We've all learned some terms. Um, we've got the SOCOM, the social media com, to get us around, some of these things. So, and Anthony Van Zant says the biggest elephant in the room equals arbitrary, centralized, totalitarian technocracy. Yeah. So, and this is the thing, like, we've all learned to create some kind of a language, and, it helps us to communicate. Who knows? But yeah, that's what's going on. I'm trying to give you just a little bit of good morning. How are you? Nice to see you. Old School Wolf Media. So yeah, that's, we've kind of got these languages going on, and I call it infocom, or for the lack of a better word. Sure, we'll come up with something else. But yeah, so the licensure is what they're actually seeking right now. So I think the heat is on right now, and so you're getting your talking heads, and your radio personalities, and yeah, all of those people that are doing all the talking and contradicting themselves. That's what you're getting, and that's why you're getting it. So there's also another story that I wanted to share with you from the We Forum. Um, and the We Forum talks about their ideas. Of course, they have their own agenda. I mean, to me, everything is under the umbrella over at We Forum. But specifically, there's one that I want to show you. Yeah, so you can, you'll be abreast, or either if you've been around here for a while, then you kind of know where I've been. And like I said, it feels like Groundhog's Day around here, because everything is on a loop, and some of these things are just kind of coming full circle, I guess. So I'm just gonna kind of go in there really quickly and share that with you. So we're talking about, we're going to go to a story in which the digital identity can help advance inclusive financial services, and that's according to the We Form. So here you go. You got your little synergy coming together here, because I think maybe 5 months ago, 5 6 months ago, if that, I think Gates rolled out the trust stamp with Mastercard. So, and I mean, I think even in India, I think I think they already have this little dare I say, this little tattoo, or whatever, if you want to call it. They've already got that system. But I think the current administration has just banned travel. There's a travel ban there. So, there's interesting things happening on a global scale here. I think there's some alliances. I think there's some anti-alliance things going on, but I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? Okay, but I just wanted to share some of these things with you guys, and thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And is that Marcy T? It is Marcy T. Good morning, Marcy T. And Marcy says SCROTUS, the so-called president of the United States, LMBO. I'm going to put this up here really quick. This is you all. Hey, finally, yeah, it's nice to see you, Marcy T. Thanks so much for coming in. And California Dreaming in NYC says, yikes, I'm getting ahead of myself. Don't forget to hit the special button. See, we've got some more language here. Got some more language for you. So Marcy T says it's looped Groundhog's Day. Yeah, it is. Around here, it's like I find myself I'm talking about the same things all the time. It's the same stuff. All right. So according to Anthony Van Zant in Toronto, they're building a mocktail manufacturing outlet that doesn't open until 2026. The ghouls are in it for the long haul. Yes, they are. They are committed, very much committed, and their minions and their ministries are committed as well. So you're gonna see what's her name, Joy Reid or whatever. I don't know. I'm just gonna drop the names. Joy Reid. She's doing her whatever her little magic is on MSNBC, and I don't know. These people are setting it up. They're setting us up for either the animosity or they're setting the grounds for these societies. And yeah, I think things are going to get nasty. And like, I think it's going to, the nasty acceleration is going to happen. So let me get on with it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't had an opportunity, before I go into this, I just want to do a little bit of Twitch on a roll, and I'll be right back. And also, just FYI, this is a digression. I'm on Twitter. So if you are on Twitter, let us know. I'll be happy to come over and see what's happening in your neck of the woods. And so yeah, I'm doing a lot of things. I'm at Real Black Spring. At Real Black Spring, that's what it is over on Twitter. And then of course we'll see how long I last over there, before they push me over the edge. And then we've got Twitch. So of course we're gonna have some Twitch on a roll as always. Thank you guys so much. And I'm gonna do a little bit of a patron shout out, and I'll be right back. Stay tuned for the digital identity and more, the synergy. I'll be right back. Hey guys, it's Black Spring with Autumn here. And if you'd like to help us out with our AI and dissemination of the stream campaign, please hit that unlike, dare to throw caution to the wind by sharing, or just making sure that you're still subscribed to the channel. And I want to thank you for your ultimate and baseline level support here on Black Spring with Autumn. And we'll be right back right after this. All right, guys, so I'm going to keep going here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's nice to see some people that I haven't seen in a while, as always. Let's see. We have, of course, Marcy T, and looks like Killer Whale's here. Hi, Killer Whale. He says he turned off the notifications. YT turned off the notifications to my channel, but I just checked and saw me live. Thanks so much. It's nice to see you around. I appreciate it. All right. So yeah, check your notifications and yeah, all that business. Okay, so let's get over to the WeForm, because WeForm always gives us, the WeForm is the real deal. So we're going to go there just for a second. Okay. All right. So this is coming out of the World Economic Forum. When I say WeForm, that is the World Economic Forum. And according to this is the digital identity can help advance inclusive financial services. So here you go. Here's the synergy. New digital processes will empower people to heal society from the pandemic. The debate on digital payments should focus on how best to facilitate real-time cross-border transactions through increased automation. Creation of a digital stability board, a platform to share best practices and monitor risk in digital commerce and healthcare, will help advance digital regulation. All right, so here, the ticker: to get through the CV-19 as best as possible and approach its aftermath triumphantly, business and government must put power in the hands of the populace. Does it seem like that? Does it seem like they're putting the power in your hands? Okay. Catalyzing a people-led recovery from the pandemic means employing new technology systems and processes, accelerating digital penetration in emerging markets to create a level playing field. The end goal for each person to be able to buy, trade, and live a fruitful life. Now, there you go. Where have I heard those three words before? I don't know. I'm going to keep going here. But how? First, we need to follow in the footsteps of Estonia and India, with every person granted a unique digital identity so that they have full access to the digital world in the economic, social, and political realm. Digital banking must then become ubiquitous and innovative. New payment infrastructure should be giving a helping hand. With these digital innovations connecting economies, new digital regulation needs to make inroads, giving consumers and small businesses more power over the data they produce. Let's take a deeper diver into the four major catalysts making this all possible: digital identity, digital banking, digital payments, and digital regulation. All right, here according to this, digital identity with inclusion, a happy side effect. Don't you guys love this language? India's Aadhaar system increases inclusion for over 1.2 billion Indians. World Bank chief economist Paul Romer calls it the most sophisticated digital ID system in the world. Given that 1 billion people globally are currently without access to a formal proof of identity, other governments should use such a system to streamline the delivery of services and payments and massively increase financial inclusion. The system would need to have the proper controls in place that would enable privacy, security, and inclusion to be baked into its design. Morocco and the Philippines are implementing national ID schemes using an open platform with many of these features. Ethiopia, Guinea, and Sri Lanka are following suit, running self-proclaimed, quote, Aadhaar in a box, end quote, technologies. A fully flourishing digital banking ecosystem is next. In order to catalyze upon a global recovery in emerging markets, citizens need to have access to high-value services wherever they are in the world. With solid data sharing mechanisms in place, as well as the proper regulations and governance, a digital banking ecosystem can flourish. It should cultivate stability, transparency, fairness, inclusion, and interoperability. This is where digital IDs can help by allowing banks and smaller lenders to authorize identities and verify transactions in real time. Further, an organizational level digital ID system would speed up the inclusion of SMBs in digital banking. The Chinese government Zhejiang province has developed a quote enterprise digital code for this purpose, responding to SMBs with easy to access financial resources. MY Bank, a subsidiary of Ant Financial, the Chinese big tech firm, collaborates with the Chinese government through this scheme to provide cheap loans and other financial products to SMBs. Okay, we're going on to the digital payments mean all methods valid. The holy grail of payments would be an omni-mechanical system that helps merchants accept any kind of payment through any channel at checkout counter or on a mobile device. This is extraordinarily difficult, although PayPal is getting close to bringing together Braintree, its iZettle acquisition, and its online checkout button. In the US, fintech startups offer technology that allows companies to connect directly to customers' bank accounts, facilitating the growth of new digital financial services. In this scenario, debit and credit cards make up a smaller proportion of transactions, and new economies such as Nigeria and the Philippines can pivot directly to a network of multi-rail payment services. Okay, so we're going to keep going here. As emerging markets catch up with Europe and the US, cross-border payments will also flourish, with vendors able to offer global businesses compelling cost propositions and better services. Automation can be used to ensure instant payments are compliant with cross-border anti-money laundering regulations. Get it right. And some studies show that B2B cross-border payments alone could grow by 30% over the next year to reach $35 trillion by 2022. Another crisis, more digital regulation. The financial crisis of 2008 led to the creation of global panel of regulators, now called the Financial Stability Board. A similar outfit should be built for global digital assets, again made possible by digital IDs. This is based on an idea of data sharing floated by Carlos Torres Villa, the chairman of BBVA. This outfit would develop data model standards, regulations, and policies, and build on the general data protection regulation in Europe by fostering better data sharing legislation across the world, something European regulators are still struggling to achieve. This quote digital stability board end quote would give members a platform to share best practices and monitor risk in digital commerce and healthcare, for instance. With this board in place, data trust could be built to manage individuals and SMBs' data. This would make the sharing of vital information easier and more fluid. And for the final ticker, moving ahead, who gets what in the new data economy will be mapped out in the next 3 to 5 years. With the right public private digital partnerships in place, more wealth will be created for a significantly greater population around the world than today. Initiatives like digital identity alone may raise global gross domestic product by as much as 13% by 2030. Business and government must act now and make digital IDs a focus for their digital transformation, a catalyst that will spawn entirely new industries and ways of working. Further, the debate on digital payments should focus on how best to facilitate real-time cross-border transactions, an area where most efficiency gains lie. The digital IDs will make this possible, but working out this system works with existing payment rails will be crucial. This will all take time, but will do a lot to catalyze a post CV recovery and usher in a prosperous future for all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate you guys for coming in and entertaining my assertions. And of course, this is very much in line with Schwab's Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is I have that book, and yeah, that's just the primer according to Schwab. So there's a lot going on there. So what I'll do just for kicks, I'll put that in the stream for you. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me see, I have some comments here. And Anthony Vincent says, thank you, BSWA, for being a legit, quote, you to all of us out here. I really appreciate it. You know what? I know I'm killing you guys with my sweatshirt here. It's I say you're in the neighborhood. This is my favorite sweatshirt. So this is my admission. So when you see me wearing this sweatshirt, you can believe that it's been washed so many times and it gets worn a lot. And not to mention the weather is a little bit wonky around here, but I decided to wear short sleeves today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to read this. Thank you, Anthony Van Zant, for coming in. I really appreciate it. And this thing doesn't really work out without you guys coming around, so I really appreciate it. And Anthony Van Zant says, "Do I have an email that we can send any?" Sure, if you would like to do that, you can send it to. It's just blackspringwithautumn@gmail. You can send it to that one. That one's here. I'll just plug it here. Yeah, that one always works. Yeah, of course, there's lots of things I want to get into, but of course, you guys know the temperature around here, right? Even with this, I'm sure they're going to go over. They're going to fine tooth comb this stream, and some people probably even thumbs it down and whatever they do. And Killer Whale says I have 228,000 tweets. And California Dreaming at NYC says they are delusional and so many along with them. I'm going to draw it down to this. And I said this yesterday. Shout out once again to TDOA. I'm just going to say for anybody that for the common denominator is the functional illiterates. If you're a functional illiterate, then you're perfectly fine with being fed information by other people. I always ask you guys to reprove me here, or do your own research, take it with a grain of salt, do what you do, but it's on you to do what you want with information, to find out if it's relative, if it works, if it's relevant to you. It's up to you, but at least you've got some other kind of arsenal that you can work with, informational arsenal that you can work with, and you don't just going to be accepting whatever a Joy Reid says or a Charlemagne, or there's so many people that are talking about there's these these elite that are talking about this thing, they're advocating for this thing, and walking around with their little endorsements and, oh, look at me, I did this. And it's like, okay, yeah, you pledge allegiance to whatever. Okay, we that's what we see. But it's just like, oh my gosh, yeah, and then you've heard some of the craziest things, like people sitting there, virtue signaling, oh, this is the most meaningful thing I've done in my life. And I'm just thinking, wow, that's not a good place to be in, right? It's like, oh, I did my part, or it's just yeah, the selfies, they're commemorating this whole thing. And I don't what will history say about it? I don't know. I just say do your own research. I mean, you've heard that before. But you don't need me to tell you that, because I don't think you guys are functional illiterates. And when I say functional illiterates, that doesn't mean that you are you're a non-reader, or that you are reading under a certain level, but it means that there are some people that would rather put that remote control or whatever, that piece of electronic device, together without reading the instructions, or they'd rather just rather go there and sit there and watch, Don Lemon or some of these people tell them how to feel or how to think, or what it means to do something like this, but don't ask any questions, because they're never going to do anything they're going to inspire your thoughts. They're going to do give you thought provoking rhetoric, but they're not going to, it's not going to send you into a it's not going to send you into more, a deep dive. It's not. So yeah, and unfortunately for people that happen to be, what's the word they throw around here a lot, melanated or whatever. Everybody's got some level of melanation, even if it's under melanation. It just drives me crazy. The emotional attachment that people have to something like this. I mean, what is it? What is it? What is it? Let me know. And California Dreaming in NYC says they're making 5G out to be a great thing. People are paying to have. And California Dreaming in NYC says we live in an ill society. And Anthony Van Zant says financial inclusion means independent thought and freedom to move around exclusive. They got to try to track everybody to try and cherry pick dissent and whack people, just saying Lucy is after every soul. There you go. Yeah, actually, I'm starting to hear more about hear about things that are kind of revving up, even in some of the European cities, that these same two companies are like I think that maybe even the buzz on the J&J mocktail, maybe that kind of sent people to those other other members of the COVAX. So, I think maybe they've reinstated the JJ somewhere. I don't know, but even in Europe, I think the other two are being pushed. So they're trying to get that full approval. And once they do, that's going to give the private sector, I think, see, that's something, these people, they have set this up so well, because you had the Biden administration saying they weren't going to do some type of federal mandate, but then the private sector is going to do their thing. Well, look, with the FDA and all these people working in tandem together, I think it's going to be a similar result. It's still going to be, a similar result. And let me read this. California Dreaming NYC says pretty sick stuff. And Marcy T says long run. And California Dreaming says, I'm being vilified because I'm not getting this. Okay, I hear you. Are you, and this might sound like a nosebleed question, but if you are you actually in NYC? Yeah, I am tracking. I saw a video yesterday. I saw a video yesterday with this kid who was basically serenading with pictures and illustrations about the mocktail, and even praising the shepherd Fauci. It's like, okay, so they're throwing just about every single they've created all these social classes and these social protections for these different classes, their assortment of people. So, of course, if you demonize or if you go against that narrative, oh, well, they're just being mean because they don't like this kind of person. So they just set up the opposition, the opposition to fight the opposition, the people to fight each other on this. So they're just throwing everything at us is what they're doing. Some people just they're not picking it up. They're not. But I think there are more people that are picking it up than I thought. So I gotta walk that back a little bit. Just there's a few more people that are picking up on something's not quite something that's not quite right. But I think it's a little bit late. It's a little bit late. So let me read your comment here. California Dreaming NYC says, I just came to Philly to get a transplant. And says, not going to happen, don't think. Well, hang in there. I admire you for sharing and for, do what you got to do. Whatever that means. Whatever that means. Let's see, what else do I have here? Yeah, so I saw, and this a shout out to Derek C. Williams 2.0, because Derek C. Williams, this was Derek C. Williams's video from yesterday where he was showing this kid. I assume it was a kid, maybe I'm wrong, but he was just, New York decided they would make a poster out of the kids' illustrations, and it's just you have never seen anything like this, and people don't find that peculiar at all. Whatever. But I said it earlier at the beginning of this that they are approaching a deadline on the status of these, and it's going to be a game changer for not just the two COVAX companies that have kind of raced to the finish line. It will be Pfizer and Moderna. Those are the two. So you guys take your notes. I'm not going to keep repeating this stuff, but they have raced to the finish line saying they have the data to apply for the full whatever. So that's going to be a game changer. So, and I also, for those of you that are on Patreon, I know I put the actual article over there. So yeah. So what, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen, but I think the campaign, I think there's an issue, there's going to be an issue for them. And that's why they have all their little minions and their little propaganda ministry out here. They've recruited a representative from every, it's like a box of chocolates, the way that things are being run right now. The assortment has just about every group. We're just a group of people now that are being, that they're using for propaganda or for the rhetoric behind this thing. And yeah, just a lot. It's a lot. Oh, did you say somebody did a video on you? California Dreaming NYC. Let's see. You said he did a video on me? And she also says, I'm not getting DCW notifications. Right. Well, it's 2.0 now. Unfortunately, he's been exiled by the powers that be. So it's Derek C. Williams 2.0. And because it was just Derek C. Williams, but now it's Derek C. Williams 2.0. So if you want to see the content, that's where you have to go. Shout out to Derek C. Williams. He is an ardent supporter over here, and he has supported the channel for quite some time. So yeah. But yeah, Derek is he's making his way back. Derek is, if you were out here within the sound of my voice, Derek is unapologetically Derek, and he does what he does, and I think he does it. I think he's very convincing with what he does. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Anthony Van Zant says the world is awakened, or they wouldn't be spending so much and lying so much and pushing so hard. They get one blank, a world domination causes. There's no exit strategy at the point of no return. Thank you for sharing that. And I will be right back. I really appreciate you guys so much for tuning in on my sunrise surprise, or or my in the neighborhood, my signature sweatshirt in the neighborhood. So I'll be right back, guys. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, there's something for everyone. So please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back, right after this. All right. Well, I really appreciate it, you guys, for coming in. And, I'm trying not to go on a what would resemble a rant or whatnot, but, I really wish people would I don't want to say wake up, because I think that's been overdone, and it's not, and it's not losing its effectiveness, but I just think that it's just kind of waned on me. But I just really wish that some people would just stop being so emotionally attached to things, because the same thing that they are being emotionally attached to me, seems to be enslaving them. They're enslaving their mentality, they're enslaving their potential, they're enslaving their altitude, they're enslaving themselves. I just don't know. I don't know. I can't. I don't know what else to say, but you got, like I said, you've got people that want to listen to, they want to be fed information. And I don't think there's anything wrong with exposing yourself, or hearing other perspectives, hear multiple perspectives. But to accept somebody's word as the gospel or law, or as 100%, I think that's very sad. I think that's, and they do it because of this emotional attachment to they're doing it because of their emotional attachment to this. Like I said, to me, things are so much worse than I thought. This day and age, I said, this generation, it's so much worse than I thought, because I don't think things were, I don't know, it just seems like the intensity of this is much worse. It's much worse than I thought. It is much worse than I thought. And somebody else brought up an interesting point. With everything that's going on, I think, who knows? Can anybody out here confirm whether or not there was another YouTuber or whatever, that I followed, and he asked this question, and I don't think he was trying to disparage, I don't think he was trying to disparage everybody, but, and I've said this before, when I talk about the elite and I talk about their institutions and I talk about the colleges, and I'm talking about, when I share these things, some of these things, I'm sharing some of my own personal experience. But the question was, something along the lines of how many years after you graduated, or let me just pull it up here. It's actually it's self-reflection, I think, is very important these days. And I'm just going to pull this one up. I'm gonna pull it up and but I just think everybody just this just seems to be people are just way too sensitive about things and they don't know how to um just if it does if something applies to you, then it does. If it doesn't, then just don't go crazy. Try not to go crazy over it. So hopefully I can find this because it was really good. And I see Twitter is really addictive and it's full contact sport over there is what I'm on about. So what I'm saying, when you go over there, if you go over there, just make sure you know your target when you're when you're doing it because I think you'll just, it's coming back. It's going to come back to you. And just hang on one second. I apologize for the dead air. So the question was in terms of how long, how long did it take you to realize that your degree on some level, whether it was useless or something to that extent? I'm not getting it in the exact verbiage, but I'll find it here in just a second. But and you got lots of responses, and I will tell you, my response was something like, I wouldn't say there were lots of responses, but um, it was just it was a very good question. And he got a lot of responses. And I think he struck a lot of nerves. And, a lot of people got into their feelings about, the question. But I just said something. I just think it was kind of like elite flight for me. Like, they talk about white flight and, this kind of group flight. So I'm just thinking maybe it was just like more like an elite flight for me. Maybe I realized what I was escaping before I escaped it. And I didn't mean to, but it really, I just think that sometimes after people get so many degrees in college, they it's just like they become like they kind of elevate themselves and they don't really accept information from anywhere else. And unfortunately, you have people like that. And I find some of those same people, you have that's the thing. It also kind of it makes people, it's kind of a catalyst for people that have college degrees can be functional illiterates too. That's my whole point. You don't have to be, it's not about having a college degree. That doesn't make you a functional illiterate. You can be a functional illiterate with a college degree. I've been a functional illiterate before. So, I don't know, just you guys, am I going a little bit too I'm a little bit too on about this or a little bit too crazy? Marcy T, are you laughing? All right, I'm gonna keep going here, but trust me, I'm gonna get to this tweet. I don't know. Twitter just seems to have like they're saying a lot of things that I've been thinking, but I didn't dare say them out loud. Or somebody just said what I was thinking, but I don't get to. I hadn't put it up on a tweet because I'm kind of a new person around there, but I don't know. They get into everything on Twitter. But I will give you that response. But I'm gonna go back to, this is a digression here, but this is more in reference to, they were thinking during this whole time that, you know, one person answered the question. He says that he realized the value of his actual degree 2 years into it, and when they switched us to Zoom classes and still raised the tuition. And then he goes on to say, don't worry, the diversity and social justice department is still fully operational and plenty of room in the budget. Isn't that sad? That's we're in a rough place when people recognize you probably can go on campus for social justice stuff, but you can't go on for anything else. You probably can't go on for your biology class, or you can't go on for your tech class, but you can still hit the pavement for your social justice practicum, right? I mean, and that's what I said last year during the whole Chaz chop zone. And then, before we knew it, everything else kind of exploded. And so, hey, those people were already ready. They were already ready to hit the streets. So yeah, I guess I should have called this functional illiterates, and I'm not disparaging functional illiterates. I've been a functional illiterate myself. Like I said, and it's easy to be a functional illiterate if you just accept what you're being told, or whether it's from the elite, or at any time. Anytime. Okay, I'm gonna read some comments here because I want to get the question right, but I think you guys kind of get the gist of what he was asking. But so yeah, so you probably could register. You probably don't even have to be mocktailed in order to go to attend a program that has diversity and social justice department. You probably don't, because all you just be a peaceful protester, and then you can go and do whatever you want. You guys remember that, right? You guys remember that during all the riots and all the autonomous zones last year, you didn't need any of that, right? You didn't have to have any of that, right? So let me just read a couple comments here. And let me say hello to Zero the Infinite. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's Zero the Infinite. I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss anybody else that was coming in. Marcy T. I just keep scrolling here. Okay, so I may not catch up just yet, but yeah. So I mean, it's I talk about these things all the time, but I'm kind of glad that I had the I don't know if it's humility or I have people in my family that have degrees or whatever, and they have they had careers that reflect that, but then I have those that don't. So it's like, I'm not going to disparage one over the other. If you have a degree, and that degree has been lucrative for you, and you've done this and that, and okay. And so, yeah, I'll defer to you on that. But I also am going to listen to this person over here that may be doing a blue collar job. And that's not that that person didn't have the intellect or the aptitude to do what you did. It's just that for whatever reason, they either chose not to, or they settled for something else. So, but that's it. I tell you, even in my background, one of the things that I would do with an educator's background, I would have conversations with the janitor all the time. She had valuable information. Value, not about cleaning toilets. Let's just be clear. Doesn't mean that she didn't have some intellect. It doesn't mean that. But to me, I think elite people, the elite mindset, that anointing, when you get that anointing, you just kind of float around, and like you're in your own little world, and like, I know everything about what my specialty, and that just, I can only accept information from that community, because it's a community. It actually is a community. We talked about that on the last show that I did, and I know I'm ranting a little bit, but at the same time, we talked about basically when you go and you do dissertations and you're defending and doing all that, you're basically asking for acceptance. So you're basically saying, hey, accept me. I jumped through your hoops. I did your dance. Da 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 da. Please accept my appeal to enter my beseeching you to let me into this community. And yeah, and they let you in. If they let you in, and it's like, you get that high, and then I don't know, you finally get it, and then sometimes they're able to talk you into going for one more. Oh, just go for one more. And then it just you just kind of, it just spirals out of control. But I don't think that high lasted that long for me. Maybe it didn't. I don't know, but it lasts longer for some than others. So, do what speaks to you, I guess, is kind of what I'm on about in that regard. But that's what happens. But I think it's the same institutions that are wanting to make decisions for everybody's lives, and tell you what to think, and tell me how to feel about this, which this doesn't really mean anything. I mean, dare I say, even from you know that this doesn't really mean anything. It really doesn't. And people that think that, I'm starting to feel sorry for those people. I really, at the end of the day, if that's all you got, to me, you're not in a good place. If you got to hold that up, if that's all you got, you're not in a good place. Without this, who are you? Who would you be? Who would you be without this? And I think it's not a good answer. I mean, it's a security thing. It's an insecurity kind of a thing. And Minenram TV. Hello, how are you? This is good evening. I'm not where are you joining us from? I really appreciate it. Marcy T says I was born at 62. So yeah, but I mean, like I said, I talk about I keep finding myself going back to the elite and all that kind of a business because it is a community and the community wants to run everybody's lives. They want to tell you what's going to benefit you. And to me, the Schwabs and all these people that we form, these people all work in tandem together, and they have actually they've shaped our education. They've shaped, the students that are out, the kids that are working right now from India. How are you? How are things in India? Nice to have you on this morning. I really appreciate it. And I think it was you. Was it you, Min and Ram, that went on and tagged my little my story from the trust stamp, from the Gates trust stamp? I'm sure you have some interesting information regarding what's going on there in terms of digital IDs, and that's kind of where we've gone. What did we do? We went from the COVAX to which COVAX we learned COVAX from, of course, the We Forum as well, but then the roll up a sleever. Yeah, I've heard that one. That's a good one too. I know where that comes from, but I'm sure you have some interesting information, Min and Ram TV. And thank you for the support over on that video. But yeah, so you had that to roll out already. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that. Anthony Van Zandt says, if you roll your sleeve up, so never be rolled down, there's no reason to consent. Lately, I've heard about, quote, shedding, end quote, where those mocktailed are shedding spike proteins that infect healthcare workers. Yeah, and that's what I'm on. That's kind of what I'm on about, and I'm trying not to say it. I put that article. I don't know if it's you guys check the community tab. I know if you're on the Patreon, the deets, there's some details on that. The what is it, American Frontline Doctors? They are spelling that out. They're spelling out all of the details. They give you a statement of basically a statement of purpose, and then they tell you what they're doing, the kind of work that they're doing, the work that they have been doing. I think since they were dare I say blacklisted or blackballed in this situation. Yeah, so let me see. Let me just read this one really quickly. California Dream NYC says, okay, so you got info that is non-familiar to us. Awesome. I'm not that far behind you. Let's see. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw some caution to the wind right now. I'm going to put that article in here right now, so you guys can, grab it. I think it's Dr. Simone Gold is one of their people. So this is gold what I'm putting in here. And there you go. Okay. Min and Ram TV says, I don't hear your voice, ma'am, because here is raining heavy raining. So I left. Okay. No problem. Thanks so much for coming in. And Anthony Van Zandt says, pathogenic priming with mocktails. And the next seasonal influenza becomes deadly. It's an onslaught, yet a flawed plan. Thank you so much, Anthony Van Zandt, for coming in. I really appreciate it. So yes, I just put that into the stream for you guys. What I'm going to do is maybe I'll go ahead and throw some more caution to the wind, because this was actually on a news channel. I'm going to show you the video. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but these things are, to me, they're pretty relevant, even if they're a little bit segmented right now. Let me just plug in that little news story. Okay. And actually that one is at 10news.com, the in-depth how the full FDA approval would impact the mocktail mandates in competition. So I'm going to put that up here, and hang on one second. Just 2 shakes here. I really appreciate you guys so much for coming in and entertaining me on the sunrise surprise / in the neighborhood. All right, so I think, okay, so no, that's not the correct one. Give me just a second. I know where it is. I'm going to play the video, but I gave you the article. So if you need something else, I'll try to, okay. So let me just, I got it to rewind. Okay. So give me just a second. We're on a Whole Foods commercial. All right. So yeah, I did put the link in for you, and let me switch this over really quickly. Sorry for the delay. So I'm going to stop sharing this one and share the next one. Hope you guys are doing well out there on your Sunday. This is Sunday here in the States. Let's see. In Europe, it is it's a little bit later in Europe than here. For whatever reason, I can't quite do, what is it, like 4 o'clock? I can't quite do the math right now. I can't get the 9 hours together, or the 9 hours. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I'm going to get the story right now. All right. So we're going to do, let's get you going right here. I'm sorry for the delay, guys. All right. So this is going to be a news story, so you can hear it from me. I gave you a summation, but that article will really give you the teeth that you need. Okay. So this is your article I'm going to share, and you can see the eminence, the eminence and the preceding propaganda and the rhetoric behind that. Okay, so here we go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best.
Full FDA approval of its COVID vaccine as early as this month, and Moderna could follow soon after. Experts say that status change would have several important impacts, including on vaccine mandates. ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is going in depth to explain the effects.
When it comes to the COVID-19 vaccines, there is a difference between one that's FDA authorized and one that's FDA approved. Currently, the 3 vaccines on the market only have an emergency use authorization, or an EUA.
It's a much faster process.
Consumer advocate Dr. Sidney Wolf says an EUA is a shortcut that allows drug makers to submit less safety data during an emergency. In this case, companies had to track volunteers for about 2 months after vaccination. But to get full approval, they'll need 6 months of data, the same standard the FDA has had for years. And Dr. Wolf thinks that'll make a difference for people who may still feel hesitant about the vaccine.
But I think that these concerns would be lessened if they were told, we now have 6 months of follow-up on this vaccine, which means we're more comfortable with how long it lasts, how effective it is, and how safe it is.
Both Pfizer and Moderna say they now have 6 months of data. Companies want full approval for several reasons. Once the pandemic is no longer considered an official emergency, only fully approved products can stay on the market. And Dr. Wolf says that stamp of approval adds valuable credibility.
Aside from what benefit for marketing it does in this country, it will clearly have an international benefit.
There's a lot of legal debate right now about whether companies or colleges can require a vaccine that only has emergency authorization. But once a vaccine has full approval, it's clear they can. Some employers already require the flu vaccine. The status change could also affect the experimental vaccines still under development from companies like San Diego-based Arcturus or Inovio. Federal law says companies can only get emergency authorization for their shot if there is no adequate approved and available
There's a lot of vaccines still in the pipeline, and it may be harder for those ones that are early in development to eventually get EUA authorization if there is an approved option.
To get new vaccines on the market on an emergency basis, companies would suddenly need to show their candidates were better at tackling variants or better for certain populations, like people with drug allergies. Typically, it takes the FDA about 6 months to review a licensure application for a high priority drug. Pfizer says it expects a decision from the FDA on full approval in the second half of this year. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
Experts say Pfizer and Moderna may have enough data to get full approval in the coming months for adult use, but approval in kids will take longer because those studies started later.
Sorry. Okay, so there you go. You have a little bit of information there. And so there you go. And I'm going to wrap this one up with what I started on about at the beginning of this stream. No, not at the beginning, but like my little middle, we'll call it my little bridge. It was a bad bridge, but it's kind of an elite dig at the end. So the question was, it came off of Twitter, at what age were you when you finally accepted that your college degree was useless and or not worth the debt? Okay, so here's the question, which I think it's a valid question. Okay, and the summation, like there were tons of responses, but it looks like from the responses, he kind of came up with 3 things that highlighted. 1, some people will never concede they got ripped off. That's a good one. 2, some people speak as if all degrees are useful. And 3, college, if nothing else, possibly taught them to be pretentious as they think all questions apply to them. So I think that was, that was a pretty healthy assertion after after I read the questions and the responses as well. So, and as I said, my response, I just kind of chalked it up to elite flight is what I did, because it could be, there's danger in that. There's danger in elitism, dare I say. All right, guys, I really appreciate it. And we did that. We talked about that. We talked about functional illiterates. We talked about propaganda. We talked about, under the gun standards here, status changes, shortcuts, and mocktail approval. So we kind of got into some, territory there, some windy territory. But I'm going to read maybe 1 or 2 comments, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a infomercial, and then we're going to scoot on your Sunday. I appreciate you guys for entertaining my my assertions, and then like I said, I was really close to a rant, and I don't know. I have not yet figured out how to rant. I haven't figured out how to rant in this current society on the channel right now. I haven't, because I can't say exactly what I want to say, but I don't know. I still think you guys will get it, but I don't know. But then, of course, I'll be, some people probably already called me I'm a supremacist myself, I guess. You're a white supremacist. They're painting me with the broad brush too, which I don't care. I don't care. I just think it's important for me to be able to come on here and just, this community is kind of important. So I'm trying to, just trying to hang on just a little bit longer. But that's why we have Twitch. When YouTube doesn't work, and when Twitter doesn't work, and all of our friends don't work, we still have, we still have Twitch, and we have the others. So look at you guys. Are you guys asking me for a rant? I try to put, the thing about it is I try to do an eloquent rant, if that's even possible, but I just don't know if it's possible anymore. I don't know. I don't think that it's not going to be a convenient rant is what I I think if I'm going to do it, I need to be full on or just don't do it. So I just, California Dreaming at NYC says, just be me. Well, let me see. Where can I go? Dare I do this right now? Dare I do it? California Dreaming at NYC. She says, forget the eloquence. All right. I'm trying to figure out where to start, because really I should have started when I started. I should have started the rant when I started the street, because now I've kind of spilled the beans. But yeah, I'm just sick of I'm sick of people, being blind and full of it and BS. I'm sick of people being blind and full of it. And they're not blind. It's like they co-sign BS, and they get upset because you're not co-signing BS. California Dreamy says, we're here for the truth and info. Well, I appreciate that. But I just can't, I don't respect people that are always making excuses for people and their dereliction of responsibility or duty or any of this stuff. I'm really sick of it. And of course, with all the rhetoric you have, they're going to paint me whatever they want to paint me. And I don't care. I don't care about it. But I'm saying, I just don't know why people can't see that why are they surprised where they wind up? I think, okay, for one, I haven't seen, what is it, the hashtag Tim, what were they calling Tim Scott? You guys might know if you guys are following this stuff at all. But what is it? Tim Crow but see, that's the thing, big tech, if you're saying the right garbage, then you're approved. You got a blue check. Every person in their little assortment that spews their garbage should have a blue check. Even the peasants should have a blue check, because they're all spewing the same kinds of crap. Tim Scott, I'm not impressed with that guy. No, I don't think I think he's a flopper. And there's a lot of flopping going on. You got a lot of anemic people, anemic representatives, and I'm sick of people using their skin color to try to drum up support or drum up pity, or I'm sick of it. I mean, where is the American Victims Association by now? They really should have a long roster, because if you can't win, what are they doing? They joining them. If you can't beat them, you're joining them. To me, that's Tim Scott represents the floppers. So he's no better than anybody else. It's just these politicians are all, they know what the score is. They're just, they're just reading their little teleprompters and trying to draw people in with their rhetoric. And it's garbage. It's still garbage. And am I excited about 2022? Do I think 2024? No. Look at it. Look at the landscape. It's just a permanent, they've got the Black community, for the lack of a better word, doing all kinds of, reacting to all kinds of things, whether there's any truth to it or not. I mean, I've seen enough of the other platforms to see just how people call in all on their emotions and, well, that's a white supremacist. Even shout out to Alex Bleeping Jones, that I was on his show the other day. He was saying that if you give anybody another reference other than the mainstream, they immediately paint that source as a white supremacist source. And then he says, when did conservatism become da da da? But I want to say, I didn't answer right away, but I think it's always been that way. For in the Black community, they always pit the people. They've always pitted, to me, the class, the rich versus the poor. It's actually more, I think, to me, when they can't hang on to one narrative, they go to the next narrative. And so it's not a new phenomenon. No, it's none of this stuff is new. It's just repackaged is the only way I see it at this point. After lots of observations, personal and more. But I'm not, I wasn't impressed with, I don't even know why they do responses. Why do they do responses or rebuttals after these speeches? Why is that necessary? Is that is it for appearances or for illusions? Is that why they do it? It's basically useless. And so, yeah, but for all purposes, they were saying, oh, well, I think, Tim Scott should run for 2024. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, do these people not learn? They don't learn anything. I don't know. I just see the hypocrisy on both sides. I see hypocrisy on both sides. And if everybody's saying the same thing, then you don't have two parties. You don't have two parties. You two parties are not surviving when everybody's jumping on the same bandwagon, when everybody's turning into victims on, reading a teleprompter. You're not representing anything differently. You're not, I'm just saying, and that's not even a real rant. My rant would be very specific. It would be very specific, my rant right about now. And I don't know where to come from right now on it. Is the reason I haven't done it, because I kind of started this thing without a full-on rant. But I'm sick of people being reduced to their freaking skin color. Is that all you got at the end of the day? Is that all you got? I mean, I don't know. Dare I say, this generation is totally, it's bizarre. It's total. And then you have people contradicting themselves. My thing is, if you're going to lead, then freaking lead. But don't say that. But don't say that. Don't say you can't lead. Don't make up BS reasons for not leading. My thing is, if you're big enough to lead one way, you're big enough to lead everybody. Don't just be, why limit yourself? But there again, that kind of keep the animosity and the division up, because they don't want people to realize that they are actually individuals, that they are actually independently. You actually can process. This does not process any ideas. It doesn't. I don't know. If you look at the history, all these campaigns, and where does that gotten you? Where's it gotten you? I'm so sick of it. I cannot, and I can't have conversations it's hard to have conversations with the functional illiterates, barely. And that sounds like an elite thing to say. What is it? The elite eventually eat their own. And I'm saying, I make a lot of these comments because I think in some ways I've been I could be on the elite side. I've been on both sides. I've been the student and I've been the teacher. So it's not anything anybody's telling me. No. I'm coming with, this is real life experience that we're talking about here. Real life experience. And what is it that, like I heard somebody say, or what is it, Derek C. Williams? He says, people, don't be a dumb person with a smartphone. Well, that happens to functional illiterates and people with degrees as well. They become dumber because of this. Or either the people that are coming on the tube, still coming on the tube. So, but I will tell you, honestly, I'd rather have a conversation with somebody that's not part of that elite mindset any day of the week than I would with somebody with just, with a bunch of elite dribble. Just, so specialized that nobody, that you basically have ostracized yourself and you've alienated everybody else around you. So there you go. You're your little tower by yourself. It's a lonely world being in that little tower. It's miserable. A lot of people are miserable. So I think it's attractive. Once you get people in there, it's hard to get out. Let's see. I have a comment here and I am rambling, and this is kind of a rant. It's a clean rant. California Dreaming at NYC says, Derek did a video on me called, quote, A Time to Kill. Very cool. Very cool. Thanks so much. I will check it out. Derek is still on. I think I misspoke there. Derek is still on some alternative platforms. His Derek C. Williams, he's on some alternative platforms. But the Derek C. Williams 2.0 is his newer channel, his existing channel here. So shout out to him, Derek C. Williams. Thank you so much for all that you do around here. But yes, so yeah, I'm really getting sick of it. I'm saying it's almost like, said, you guys have turned it into a sin almost to be a Black person in this country. You really have. You really have. I mean, what else can I say? I'm sick of it. And that's the clean version. The clean version. They cannot imagine anything else. And it's very, to me, it's like a spell. It's like some kind of dark spell. And I say this all the time. Some people just take things to a dark place. You can take something totally, something generic and take it to a dark place. And they think they've reclaimed, what was it like? Okay, let me give you guys some elite dribble. Once upon a time, I heard that even, what was it? The use of the N-word. Oh, they were like, oh, that's called reappropriating stereotypes, where you take the word back from the oppressor and you use it for something good. Well, how's that working out? I don't think that's worked out either. I don't. It just see that after taking all of that back, people are still permanent victims. They don't seem to have very much self-worth. So I don't think that's working out. So that was an elite. These are elite ideologies and liberation theories and all that. And, of course, critical theory, liberation theories, all this stuff comes from the same group of people. The people that started the liberation, the critical race theory, all these people came from the same school. The Frankfurt School is where it all came from. It's not new. It's old. It's really quite old. So yeah, so that's, I gave you guys, that's my little clean rant. That's as that's as clean as I can make it. Because I've talked about the HBCUs, I've talked about what's at stake, I've talked about how they started with these mocktails. We did an entire story on that. And here we go again. It's just you got these little propaganda agents out here trying to get people to go and do it. I have no, honestly, but what will you sell your soul for? What will you sell it for? And I don't dare I ask that. I don't want to know. Actually, I don't want to know. I don't really know. I don't want to know. So I'm going to do one more infomercial and then I'm going to say salute. And I gave you guys a bunch of digressions today, but they were all in the same vein. So I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. So I'll be right back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right. So once again, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And like, that's not even roughing you guys up there. That was just that was it was just, I don't know. I'm going back here on a digression almost. Back in the day, you'd have CDs or cassettes and say, "Oh, with parental discretion advised," or that was the clean version of a rant. I haven't done like an all-out one, a non-thematic rant in a long time, but I'm sure it would probably take me back to Groundhog's Day. Is the reason you guys would end up at Groundhog's Day no matter what. So, by the way, this is another digression. Did anybody bother to? Does anybody out here have an Android phone? Because we were looking for an upside down cross, and it was Rachel Van Ziel. Shout out to you if you're out there. We were looking for the upside down cross at the new. We were looking for the upside down cross at the Free State of George Floyd on the map. We were looking for that, but I think it was only possible. It was only visible somehow on the Android phone, but I don't have an Android phone. But yeah, I'm sure I'm thinking it's going to be like not summer of love, but it's going to be a summer of autonomous zones. And yeah, just the demand is up for all of these things apparently. So, that's kind of what I'm on about there. But okay. So I was going to say hi to everybody and thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right, I'm going to scroll down here. Marcy T, I really appreciate you so much for coming in. I really do. And California Dreaming in NYC, I really appreciate it. And thank you for thank you for sharing. You shared some personal things there, and do what you need to do. Do what you need to do for yourself. Do what you need to do for yourself. And like I said, I'm not offering medical advice on here. So for YouTube or whatever, I'm not. But they'll say what they want to say. And just because they say it doesn't mean it's true. That's the same logic that I tell people. I try to tell my friends, okay, just because somebody says you're something doesn't mean you are. Just because they say it, it doesn't mean that you are. You don't have to react to it. Just get them out of your territory. And California Dreaming says, I've got some dope music. Well, I think I appreciate that. Honestly, one of those tunes in there is a little bit tribal, but I think it's kind of cool. It's a little different. But yeah, I try to freshen things up around here. But that's it. It's kind of limited. It's a little bit limited, I think, on some of the choices that I put on here. But yeah. And Anthony Van Zant says, rant away. A good rant for good people is good stuff. Yeah, but like I said, there's a time and place. Time and place. And see, the thing about it is I don't want to overload you guys with information and a rant. Yeah, I don't want to overload you with both at the same time. It might be too much. And Killer Whale Channels, it's been a lifetime. I appreciate you so much for coming in. I thank you so much. And Marcy T, once again, I missed this comment. She says, why else would they shadow ban us little channels? Truth, that's why. Well, that's the thing. It's like, I'm small potatoes, I'm small potatoes. If I were a business, I would be rolling one of those little square things, not paying processing fees or whatever for a portal or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's keeping me up here. I don't know, but we're going to go with it. And I appreciate you guys for being a part of this community. And for those of you that have been around for a year, I remember. I'm going to put that together one day and figure out who's actually been around here a year. There's some people who've been around here for a year, and they're special people, and they know who they are. And but for those of you that have come around recently, of course, I appreciate you guys just as much, no less. But it's just a little bit of a journal on where we've been and where we're going. Where are we going? Put that in the stream. Zero the Infinite. Thank you so much for coming in. If you're still out there, I really appreciate it. Let's see, what else do we have? Mini Ram TV, Min and Ram TV. Thank you so much from India. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. All right. And I think I got everybody. I think I'm on a loop. I'm on a loop of people. And I didn't even open this one up here. I didn't even open this up. But dare I open it up here? See, it's not fair for me to open it up and say, okay, let's stay on topic when I've been on so many digressions. I've been on so many digressions this morning. That's kind of funny, but who knows? But I say, I'm going to do it anyway. And just to see, if you want to tag in, you can. If not, you don't have to. No stress, right? No pressure. You don't even have to show your face. Let me see. Do I have anybody over on, is anybody over on Twitch right now? Let me see. I can't really see. I can't really tell who's over. If there's somebody over on Twitch. Thank you so much. Whoever's over on Twitch right now. Sometimes I don't really kind of pick that up right away, but fair enough. All right, guys, I really appreciate it. And it's California Dreaming in NYC says, come back later for the other. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I just try not to do, I don't know. I don't know. I like to watch other people rant sometimes. Sometimes I don't even, it's inspiring to watch other people's rants. And some people just rant. So it's just have the most eloquent rants. They're just so good. You don't want to turn away. But then the nastier ones are, the nastier ones have value too. So I don't know. You got to pick your poison. Yeah. This is, and I tell you guys all the time, I really appreciate everybody for who you are as an individual coming here. And I'm not, it's not my goal to alienate anyone. I don't care whether you're melanated or not, or how many degrees of melanation are out there. I don't know. And I don't care. You don't need that to come here. You don't need that to come here and hear my rant or my half-ass rant. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate it. Killer Whale Channels says, thank you, Autumn. I really appreciate it so much, Killer Whale Channels, because I want to say this, that, this channel has kind of gone in a different, it's not necessarily we've gone in a different direction. It's just that it's just time. It's just call it what it is. It's not the milquetoast stuff. I'm not doing it. I'm not pledging allegiance to anything, any banners. I'm not. I'm just, yeah, it's just to me, you gotta survive right about now is what you have to do. And you're not gonna, I don't think it's gonna be, I don't think you're gonna do it with a bunch of politicians right now. I'm not convinced that you are. I'm not that I have a whole lot of hope in them to begin with. I don't know, maybe it's maybe a little bit, but I just think that it's getting to the point in which we're seeing that things are so much worse than we thought. And how to bring us back from that, I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. So I'm going to get out of here seriously this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I appreciate you guys for hitting the like button or the unlike button on this. And then this one comment, you guys keep wrapping me back in. California Dreaming NYC says, I don't do milk. Neither do I. I don't do milk myself. And Anthony Van Zant says, individual strength to the strongest whole. To the strongest whole. All right. And gratitude, good sister. All right, guys. We're out of here. Thanks so much for tuning in. And you guys have a great rest of your Sunday/Monday, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you guys on the next live stream in the comment section. Flash stream, the Moonlight streams, the night cues, the real unders. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a neighborhood rant, and I'll wear my favorite sweatshirt. I'll wear my favorite sweatshirt for the rant. All right, guys. So long.